Hello, you little beautiful people. Wow, it's been a while. Been a while since I've been here on video. Been a while since I've done a little podcast episode. And yeah, it just feels like it's the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the time. And, what has a lot to do with that is the fact that we finally left England. So we were there from last November. I went on a couple trips, but majority of our time we were in England. And there is something very true about the fact that the land and the environment that we're in holds us, right? So different environments, different lands that we go to, we experience different parts of ourselves because different parts of us can be held there in different ways and different expansiveness moments and different moments of like contraction. And there's only so much space and so many things that life can hold in certain places. And for us, England just cannot hold us in the ways we would love to be held. And really, when you get out of the story, when you get out of the place that you were just in, you see it all a lot clearer. It's like when you complete a chapter and you look back and you see it in its fullness and you can understand it and kind of understand different flavors of it and from it. And a lot of England and our experience of England is such lack of inspiration there for us. Like, not only in the feelings that we get there, but also in like the physical beauty of life around us there. There's just not a lot of inspiration. There's not this feeling of expansion. And so much of England is like squeezed. There's like everything's squeezed a bit. The houses are squeezed on top of each other. The roads are squeezed on top of each other. People don't wave at each other in the mornings, right? It's just like this different pace. People have very beautiful, kind hearts underneath it all, but like the pace of life there and the way that it holds people, it's just, it's not expansive. It's not big. It's not gigantic. There's no space for the big dreams and like the big dreamers. So, delicious. So yeah, enough about like the contraction, right? Enough about like where we just came from. Here we are sitting in the Eastern Townships outside Montreal and Canada, right? Like expansion, like big wide roads and like houses that have tons of land, and like you can feel it in the energy of the people that you interact with if you can speak enough French to get by or if they can speak enough English to connect. But it's wide and it's open and it's inspiring and it's expansive, and all of a sudden I'm like, I want to speak and I want to talk and I have inspiration moving through. And I find, so much of life is like, be in what you're in, like feel it, experience it, go in, don't resist it, don't fight it, allow it, right? Like all these things that we know and try and practice. And so there is something to say about like fully embracing seasons of contraction, seasons of like, I'm just gonna like wake up and try and like do what I can to be happy today, right? Versus, ooh, I'm gonna dream this big dream and take these big steps forward and like really hurl myself into the next phase of what life is asking me, and like, just like look around and see the beauty, it's like, it's wild. And when we're in the space that we're in now, it's like, it just feels like there's so much that wants to be shared and be put out and like moved through this being and moved through this life. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for all the different seasons and the chapters and the fires that we've walked through and like the rainstorms that we've been through and, the moments of joy that we've created in those chapters. And, one of the things that I'd like to reflect right now is that you've changed and transformed more than what you actually realize. And maybe your life doesn't look drastically different than what it did last year. And maybe it does. Maybe you feel drastically different. Maybe you don't. But your being has shifted more than you realize, right? Like, we are always taking in everything from our environment. We are moving through so many different waves of energy. We're expanding, we're contracting. Those seem to be my words today, expanding and contracting. And, there's a lot to say for maybe you're living in the same home with the same partner. Maybe you work the same job and drive the same car and eat some of the same foods. But the being and the you that shows up to do those things is different, and is changed and is transformed and has developed and grown, and not to overlook the little subtle changes that, you know, a 1% change shifts everything. And, you know, if your ground changes 1%, whatever can grow from that ground is different. And I think there's a moment now that we all get to be in to fully recognize and celebrate like what we've changed and created and allowed. And, you know, whether that's your mindset change or your awareness of what's going on in the world, or your, yeah, like your self-talk is more positive, or your mindset is much more expansive, or you are much more, you feel much more empowered and you can like ask us more questions and assert yourself more. Like, these are big fucking changes. And I do feel that we've all chosen to come to this planet. We've chosen to come to this planet at this time, to be the age that you are right now, to be aware of or not aware of what you're aware of or not right now, and to share your love and your light with this planet. And you don't need to look over there at like what's dismantling and what's falling down and what's collapsing. And the way I just felt it kind of in my little meditation is like whatever's behind us is like falling away, falling away, falling away. We're letting go of what was. We're letting go of the past. We're letting go of any strings that kind of pull us outside of our moment, outside of this opportunity where we're almost standing on the edge of a cliff looking out, and we can see things. There's a vista now. We have a viewpoint. We are open to the expansion of like seeing the mountains on the hillside and watching the changing sky and being so profoundly, deeply fucking rooted in ourselves, in our hearts, in our like beingness, to be open to the hurricanes and shifts that move around us, but knowing and finding that ground inside as we stand at the edge of this cliff, looking out, feeling how different we are, feeling how much we've shifted in a year, and, you know, finding some time to celebrate that and invite that in. And, you know, it doesn't mean that you know what's next or what's coming or what's happening or any of that, and that doesn't matter, because if you can find your own, I'm almost getting the image of like a rock wall inside. Like if you can find your rock wall inside, your own anchor and your own ground and your own peace and harmony and majesty and mountain and whatever it is that feels grounding to you inside, then you can conquer anything, or you can allow anything to move through you. It's like, you know, the wind does carve out rock, but the rock still is the rock and stays as the rock in the ground. And the rains fall and come, but the rock stays and the ground stays. And maybe the ground shifts, as we all do, as it's all alive and energy and moving. But we get to choose that and find that and connect with each other more. I do believe this is so important right now with just, you know, differing opinions and differing waves of what's moving around in the 3D world. And finding each other, finding moments to really connect. And one thing I noticed, I went on this beautiful walk this morning around the lake near where we're staying, and it was a proper adventure because we're back visiting friends, and it's really special to visit somewhere that you've already been. It's like a different type of trip. You go back to your little favorite places, we went to our favorite coffee shop yesterday, and like they remember us. We had these great chats. They're like, it's been a year. We're like, we've missed you. And to go on a walk again around the lake that I've walked halfway around, and I knew that you could walk fully around it, but we don't have Canadian phones. I didn't have service. I had a call at 9. I left at like 7 to go on the walk, and it was like proper adventure because I'm like, all right, my body is pulling me to go around the lake. It's like if I were to turn around and try and walk back the other way, which you could totally do, and like it's the path that is known, I would do it, but like that, my body like doesn't want to go that way, right? And like I wrote down a line today on my walk that says your body will pull you home. It will guide you home. Like your body is home. And we are in a phase of quieting down all the pieces of life around us that aren't in service of our clarity, aren't in service of our listening. And that is what we get to do. We get to listen. We get to be. We get to open to the miracles and sit for a moment and create that space for ourselves. And so on this walk, I'm like, I'm going straight. I'm going to just go around this lake and see what happens. So, you pass some homes and they're beautiful. And I love all the different types of homes that exist anywhere you go, and just the different types of architecture, and yeah, just seeing how people set up their gardens and their yards, and how people live outside and engage outside and then go inside. So you kind of get lost in the world of others, and then part of the lake turns into a forest. And so the next thing you know, I'm like tripping over roots and like in the forest of these tall, wise ones, watching the morning kind of just like cinema of light on the trees move. And it just blows my mind how beautiful it is. So I'm continuing, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep on walking through this. I have no clue how I'm going to get there. I'm like now against the clock. I've got an hour. I'm like pacing it out. I'm like, it's been about an hour since I made it to this point, or however long it was. And yeah, I just kept going. And it was proper adventure because I was able to pull up the map on my phone even though I didn't have service. And of course, somehow it like tracked where I was. And I was able to see, oh, you can continue around this lake. And I was like, uh-oh, it's a cul-de-sac there. I have to walk up on this main road and come back down and find my way. And I did. But during it, like, you are also up against your own mind in life, right? And this is so symbolic for anything. Like, you're on an adventure. You know that your destination is home, or you know that your destination is like, I want to create this thing or do this thing or be this type of person. But you're in the adventure of getting there and arriving. And yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen. And so I notice, like, anytime you're up against something new, like, you have to be aware of your mindset, your self-talk, what you're thinking, what you're saying in your mind. Like, I've got this. Like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's happening. Versus, oh my God, like, I fucked up. I have to turn around. I'm going to be late. You know how quickly you can spiral and how quickly you can move into the contracted, narrow space of fear. And recently we were listening to a talk from Cryon, and he's quite powerful teacher for me right now. And there were two things that he shared in his talk that was just so simple but profound. And one is that darkness has no intelligence. So when you're in the kind of heaviness like we can be in England in particular, and the density, and life on earth is quite dense. There's a lot that we're all moving through and experiencing. And when you get in those darker places, like, there really isn't any intelligence there. Not to say that there isn't wisdom in moments of like heaviness and like sadness and all these things, but in the moment that we're feeling those things, we can't actually find the answers of how to get out. We can't think our way out. Like, there's no intelligence there. So we get stuck and try and think our way out of a small place and find even smaller answers. And so, yeah, darkness has no intelligence. And also just to recognize, certain beings and certain energies out in the world that are darkness. Like, there isn't intelligence to their actions. It just makes no sense. And the other piece is that the only thing that can dim your light is fear. And we can so easily get in a fear loop when we're out there and navigating our lives with ourselves at the edges of what we're at right now, which is like total radical new beginnings, new ways of being, new expansions at the edge of this view, right? Like, we're at the edge of something big. And symbolically, as I was walking around the lake, it was early, so the skies are just waking up pink, and there's just beautiful mist over the lake. You could see the reflection of the sky in the water, and yet it was so misty that you couldn't see the homes on the other side of the lake. And it's like, just knowing that I can see what's right in front of me is enough for me to take the first step and this next step. And if you're like me, you've got big dreams and you have big visions and you have big desires for yourself and your life, and not only who you are being, but also like what you're doing and what you get to experience. And we are here to keep dreaming those big dreams, keep letting our imaginations run wild in that direction, and letting go of, oh my God, it's too big that I can't take any first steps, and losing our regard for the mini steps, right? Even for me right now, I'm like, I want a podcast studio. I want to literally talk to cool people every week that inspire me, and film and record and put them up everywhere. And I've had my business now for 5 years, and I've gone through so many different changes and so many different things that I've like wanted to really do and that I've loved doing. And then I'm like, nope, this isn't energizing me, bringing me joy. This isn't my thing right now. And yeah, so I'm like, I want a podcast studio with like top of the art everything. I want the headphones and like the long speaker and microphones, and that's what I want. But just because I don't have that right now, and we're not in like a permanent place yet, doesn't mean that I can't just hit record right now. And I'm sitting on the ground, and I have a nice microphone plugged into my phone, but I don't have this. I'm holding the phone with my hand. I'm switching hands because I'm like, I'm getting a little tired, but I'm doing it, right? And maybe that's part of the message of today, is just like, just do it. And these little micro steps of winning each day in a way, and like being able to go to bed at night saying, I did move myself forward, and knowing that some days moving yourself forward looks like rest and looks like relaxing, and not quote doing anything, right? But allowing yourself to do the rest and be in the rest. And there's not a lot of regard for that in our world. And I lead a lot of meditations and breathwork ceremonies and workshops for a lot of different companies. That's a lot of the work that I've been doing. And one of the things I constantly talk about is this idea that, our world talks a lot about filling up our cup and filling up our cup, and make sure you're full, and make sure that like, you're going to yoga to fill up your cup. And we don't talk much about emptying our cup and emptying ourselves and creating that space, right? Like, you cannot drink tea out of a full cup. You can pour water in a full cup, but like it just overflows. And symbolically, I can go on another tangent about overflowing, because it's great to have a feeling of overflow, but we do need to be the vessel, to be open to receive whatever wants to come through. And now more than ever, we have the support and guidance and help of our higher selves, our God selves, if you will, the parts of us that are like not physically here, but energetically connected to us, that we get to tap into and ask help and support from, and connect there and pray there and open ourselves up to that support in that way. Like, we're not just these physical human beings on this physical human planet alone, trying to figure out what the fuck we're here for and what our purpose is and why we've chosen to be here, even if you don't even believe you chose. Like, there's no accidents. It's quite profound, this time that we're here on this planet. And one thing I keep coming back to is just because my question that has run my life is like, what is my purpose? Like, what am I here for? And am I doing it? And am I, like, I just want to figure it out. Please, someone tell me what my purpose is. And I think in some beautiful way, that is a question that will stir the art in me for forever. And I love remodeling the answer, but I do believe that we're here to for those of us who are light workers, to be light on this planet and share our light and share our joy and learn as we do, and follow our kind of intuition that allows our soul's agenda and timeline to unlock. And, I do believe that we are here to get out of the way so that we can experience the magic and the bliss and the ultimate underlying, like, incredible lives that we're all desiring. I really do believe that. And I do believe that our world is changing for the better, and there's going to be way, 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 just the divine intolerance for what we're all now moving away from is going to stir the revolution that we've all needed. I mean, it's already begun. And just because there's certain people that are hot about certain topics, like, you only get to and must follow what you're excited about, follow your joy, follow your curiosity, and enjoy your life and enjoy every day. And, you know, like I said, like win the day, but not in the sense of like we're up against a fight and we have to win this battle. It's like, no, winning the day is really just like feeling like not only did you do what you said you were going to do for your own self and your own relationship with your power and your word, but also that you were open to miracles and magic, and that you were open to exploring, and that you were open to like just showing up as the human that you are and doing it and being it. And yeah, just like you're doing great, you know? And I think more and more and more we need to slow down more and more and more. Just slow down. Like, just feel the pulse of the world moving out there and find that slower, truer pace inside. And you can almost imagine like a really fast flowing river, right? And like, let's say you're on that river, and like, let's say you are water. So like, this is you, and you're moving so fast, and there's things moving around you that you're like trying to manifest or trying to create in your life. And it zooms by, and it will just zoom by you, but you can't quite grab it because it's so fast, and maybe you don't even see it. And then think about like a slow moving river where you get to be really clear about like what you're thinking and what you want, and you imagine almost like a slow stick floating next to you. You can see it and grab it and like celebrate it and recognize it, like, oh, I created this, I called this in, whatever your language or dialogue is with life. And that is where we are wanting to land. And that is where our true life is, you know? And it's like, sometimes it's fucking hard to move from that fast moving river into that slow trickle. And it is a process, and it is a journey, and it's a practice and a choice. It's like a daily thing. And that's why, excuse me, just having another sip. That's why I do believe there is an innate power in having a morning practice, right? Like today, going on my morning walk, or yesterday was journaling and pulling cards and sitting by the fire. And you can create it the same every day, different, whatever, but like your ground for you, right? Coming back to the limestone, the rock inside, like connecting our lower body to the earth, connecting our upper body to the heavens above, or the great central sun, or whatever language, again, that you look at it. We're all just playing with words and connecting and living life from there, right? But if you wake up and you're in that fast moving river and you're go, 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 there's a quick pace that you must keep up with, and it's just not natural. So feels like we're retuning our like humanity in a way to a much more natural way of life, way of living, way of connecting and harmonizing together, and just being and enjoying and like living on the land with our little, look at that cute little red squirrel, like just having the time to watch that little squirrel eat that little acorn. And it's the cutest little thing, and it's a red squirrel, like Andy was telling me today. So cute. See, taken by the beauty. It's all right here. It's all right here. Not only is it all right here, but it's all right here. It's all right and well. So yeah, cheers. Cheers to you and your journey and wherever you are right now. And may this transmission and these words fill you up with the feeling of everything is right on time. I'm doing great. Life is happening in my favor. I live in a friendly universe. I'm so supported. I'm so loved. And just open, open, open. Like, let the ceiling just fucking melt away. Because we got big dreams and we're big dreamers. And it's all happening, baby. So, bless you. Bless your life, your family, everyone around you. The door's closing. How symbolic. So, I guess it's time to carry on my wayward soul, don't you cry no more. Voila. All right, big love, you beauties. Talk soon. Mwah. Doesn't want to stop. So, What does that mean? Here we go. We're gonna hit it one more time, baby.